We're in Dominic's studio here, and there's a lot of things in this room that my viewers have probably never seen in their life. So why don't you tell us, and especially all these sound reflecting or non-reflective surfaces. Yeah, go ahead and walk us through the room, please.
Okay, so that's basically the first thing people see when they come in here is all these tubes, and what they are is basically they're called tube traps. It's a broadband absorber, so what it is it's basically absorbs on one side. So these are actually, you can adjust these, and these are made by Acoustic Sciences Corporation, and on one side they absorb sound, and on the other side they reflect sound. So it's basically a diffuser on this side and an absorber on the other side. And so whatever it is you're trying to record, whatever effect you're trying to achieve from your recording, you can turn these to make the sound different, basically. If you want more absorption, of course you want the absorptive side where the mic is. And that's what's going on with this quote-unquote vocal booth. And it's making the room practically invisible inside this space. So you're not hearing the reflections from the walls at all when you sing into the mic within this particular space. The mixing engineer will add reverb, ambience, early reflections, things like that. But if you can start with a very dry, flat sound with no room intervention, you're going to end up with a better sound, because it's a more versatile sound and you can do more with it because you're starting, from scratch, basically. And so you have this bass sound that doesn't have any room tone mixed in with the sound.
Exactly.
So you can
because when you record in a room with live reflections, you cannot remove those reflections from your recording.
But you can add them very easily.
But you can add them to something that's not there. Yeah.
And so what these do is it not only does it tame the higher frequency reflections, which is basically what you hear coming off walls, it also will trap the lower bass frequencies that flat panels won't do. So if you look up these flat panels, they do absorb some low frequency, but they need more of the wall to be more effective. So the tube traps allow you to move them away from the walls, and they can actually absorb lower frequencies in the middle of the room.
Wow.
So if you were to just put foam on all the walls, it's going to mostly reflect only the higher frequencies and mid-range frequencies. And what you end up with is a lot of low-end mush, because those frequencies aren't being taken care of. And that's a really big problem in smaller studios, is not being able to trap the lower frequencies. And that's what these tubes basically do. They trap more of the lower frequencies, so you end up with a sound that doesn't have a lot of the low-end mush that's in there.
Beautiful.
And this actually becomes even more effective for the drums. And I can give a good example here. So at one time I didn't have these tube traps, and these are large ones. These are 20-inch. When these weren't here, if you would hit the bass drum, you would not really feel the bass drum, and the low frequencies weren't that present. And as soon as I added the tube traps, all of a sudden the bass drum became much fuller, bigger sounding, huge bass. And that's because the tubes kept the sound from bouncing off the wall and then canceling each other out. So basically, when you're sitting at the drum throne, you're hearing all the bass because it's not being canceled out from the back wall.